Man, look at this big turbo that we just added to the Miata. It's pretty sweet.
No, I'm just kidding. But what's going on, guys? Welcome to Backyard Pit Stop. In today's episode, we are going to be working on my buddy's truck, the Habibi machine, or Lathe, as you guys, or as I know him. Today we've got his 2005 Dodge Ram 3500. He's already got a couple upgrades done to it. Actually, several upgrades done to it. Some pretty big upgrades. He's got turbo upgrades, built trans, exhausts, your typical, you know, injectors. But I'll probably let him do the talking, and we'll probably let him explain to us what he's doing right now. What's going on, Lathe?
What's up, guys?
Be sure to check him out. I'll go ahead and put his username in the video. It's going to be at the Habibi machine. But yeah, so what you up to right now? Tell us about the truck.
So, I sold the Habibi machine, or I parted it out, and I started to get a little bit bored with having slow stuff. Pretty much the normal daily drivers, and I always got an itch. So I started modding the truck. I started with the fleece billet dual lift pumps, injectors, the S&B intake snout, and an Edge CTS2 tuner, and injectors, and that wasn't enough. So I put the iron horn, the BD iron horn 66mm turbo kit on it. Probably, if I remember correctly, it was like $5 or $6 grand for the trans with a converter, and now it's time for head studs. So this guy in Saline, I forgot the name of his company. He's a great guy, old school guy, builds transes for like his whole life. He's been building transes, and I got a recommendation from a buddy of mine. And I gave him a shot, and man, this thing has never driven as good as it does.
And by the way, his
awesome.
turnaround time was great too. That's what I can recall. 1 week.
1 week.
He took the truck. He pulled out the trans, installed the new one, and had the truck back to Lathe in 1 week. And then also he had you had a couple problems with the reverse, but it wasn't even that big of a deal.
Yeah, I guess we had a defective reverse band, but he took the truck in, pulled it apart, rebuilt the whole trans for me, no charge, and put it back together, put it back in the truck, and this thing is flawless.
Yeah. But what are we doing today? Talk to us about these this hardware that you got going.
So I was looking at hardware, different types. Typically I'm an ARP guy. I've always used ARP. I use them in a Habibi machine. When I work with Safe, all we use is ARP. Either 625s or 2000s, depending on the build. Well, I didn't feel like spending dang near $500 for a set of head studs. So this happened, this company, Xotic Performance, I was going to think that I had to purchase the ARPs. I didn't think I had a choice, you know what I mean? I'm not going to buy China studs or something stupid like that, but these were the first hit on Google when I Googled 5.9 Cummins head studs. You know, I just wanted to see what was out there, and I started going through, and I was like, wow. I was like, not so sure about this. I started going through the videos on the reviews. There's some people who posted YouTube videos from some decent channels, and they had nothing but good things to say about them. These guys sent them free sets of head studs to test, and I read a bunch of stuff on the forums about them. You know, they're fairly new, so there's not a ton, but everything that I did see about them, nothing but good things to say. So I said, heck, I messaged him, grabbed a set, and here we are, half the price. I saw a bunch of videos of people doing the tensile strength test. They're supposed to be equivalent to the ARP 2000s. And actually, the machine that pulls these studs apart that they test them with, the ARP, not to talk bad about ARP, I love ARPs, but they broke stud for stud before these did. And they're supposed to be the same exact tensile strength. So, I don't know what that says. Not by much, but, I mean, it obviously tells you that it's a decent product.
Yeah, so
we'll see.
Yep.
You get your money back if you don't like them. I mean, hopefully that's not the case, but I'm fairly confident we'll be just fine.
All right, cool.
Time to see what this puppy will do. I'm like, whatever this non-gated turbo will put
So
out.
once we get these done, you're pretty much just ready for tune, right?
Yep, tune and possibly a CP3, 10mm stroker CP3.
All right. Are you missing anything else that you probably need to?
No, I'm sure I'm missing a couple little here and there things, but nothing major.
By the way, guys, this truck is already pushing out some good power. This thing moves. We've gone together on a couple like trips to grab parts or whatever, and we've had brand new Duramaxes pull up to us. Now I'm a Duramax guy. I'm all about Duramax. This thing's got some. It's got some cojones.
That was on stock turbo.
Oh, that was on stock. Oh yeah. I think I still have that video. I'll put it like in here somewhere.
I gotta give him the hazards.
Well, we were racing I don't know if it was an LML but it was a newer Duramax. I got to look back at the video and see what it was. But yeah, we left him in the smoke. And then there was another. Was that a Power Stroke, the tow truck?
Yeah.
Yeah. On
tow truck.
Yeah, on the highway. Yeah, that thing was moving, but we left him in the smokes. Yeah, I'll go ahead and include those in this video as well. I don't think there's a really good video of anybody doing the exotic studs. Now I know there's probably ARP videos, but I figured, you know what? Since it's our first time kind of doing it on the Cummins, we figured why not kind of document it for you guys. But yeah, stand by.
Alright guys, so this is where we're at so far. We're doing a time-lapse video here, if you guys can see. So far we've already got the rockers out, right?
Yep.
And
all the rocker arms, the pedestals, the valve bridges, and last thing right now we're pulling out is the push rods, and then we'll pull the injector.
so right now that we're getting to the last how many two. The last two push rods. Well, the last three push rods actually. There's a cool
four. The last four push rods on the last two cylinders. So there was one here, and then there's two more back there. So up on this cowl, if you try to pull the push rod up, so let's it hits. So I'm gonna drop this guy and make sure he's sitting right back on the lifter. There he goes. And yeah, always make sure these guys sit back on the lifter or you'll drop them down into oblivion. You don't want to do that. But anyways, there's two rubber plugs that go up. Sorry about that. That go up in this cowl that allow you to pull the push rod up, line it up, go all the way up in there.
Oh, that's convenient. So whoever the body design engineer or whatever who was designing that was
Thought about the mechanic.
yeah. Thank you for thinking about the mechanic.
For the first time, engineers thought of us.
And then just a quick thing, when you are taking those rubber boots off, probably, well, we didn't know about it until we got to it. It'd probably be a good idea to take those rubber boots off first, just in case if there's any dirt or anything.
Or
go ahead. What were you saying?
so it's probably a good idea to put a rag or something that's not gonna get, you know, in your valve train or in your oil, something to cover the back before you pull those rubber grommets off, just in case there's dirt, sand, rock, whatever the hell may be in your cowl, because all your water washes down in there and all the sediment from your windshield and everything washes down in there. So,
do you think were you able to get to those plugs with the valve cover on there?
So I'm pretty sure you could.
Okay.
But
if we already got to this
if you already got the valve cover off, just put something over there to cover it, just to catch anything, just in case. It's very easy. You can just pull them right off with your thumbs. Piece of cake.
Yeah.
Also, one other thing before you pull your valve cover, that blanket, the heat blanket for the firewall, I trimmed it. A lot of people trim them in the center because when you bump them with the valve cover, when you're trying to take them off, a whole bunch of sand comes out of it.
Yeah.
Or you can remove it all, but do it before you take the valve cover off, because if you don't, you're going to get a crap load of dirt in your motor.
You're gonna get a
and
whole
that's
bunch
bad.
of debris inside. Yep.
But I trimmed it before when I did my injectors and everything.
And so far, to get the valve cover off,
Cake.
it was
About 15 minutes of everything. Is 10 millimeter.
it was 10mm bolts. And
Six
then,
10mm bolts for the valve cover, 4 for the little black Cummins cover, obviously first, and then 6 along the valve cover, 10 mils.
for this right here.
And then the 2 hoses, which you can see right there, the crankcase vent.
Just pop those off.
Yep, you just pull those right off.
And then over here, you had 10mm bolts on the inside of each. Right? These are
Yep, they're all 10s. Make sure when you pull these suckers that these don't fall off. If this falls off on some of them, they'll come off and they fall in your pan. You're pulling the pan.
Yeah. So it's sitting in your It's sitting
Sits
like
just
that.
like this in your motor.
Yep. So make sure that little cap right there doesn't fall off as you're pulling them off.
Some of them will come off, some of them won't. But be very careful. An easy way to avoid that while reassembling is put a little bit of assembly lube underneath those caps on the ones that do come off. That way it'll hold them in place.
Yeah.
And we're gonna brake clean everything, clean it all up, and then put assembly lube on everything to reassemble it.
All right, cool.
Yep.
So let's continue. All right, guys. So this is where we're at. We went ahead and installed the new head studs are installed. So after we took out all this stuff right here, we went ahead and took off this. What is this thing called?
This is called the lower valve cover. Got your injector harness on it too.
Yep.
All your injector plugs for different banks. So on this Xotic kit, to clear the head stud on number 24, this spot right here, the head stud hits. So you have to shave this basically up so it clears the head of the nut. And that's what we're about to do right now.
So right now we've got a Dremel with. We're gonna see if this
We'll see if that works. If not, a carbide would be best. I forgot it at work. But we're gonna see what we can do with what we got.
Yep.
Obviously, it's not gonna stop us.
And just quick thing to get this off.
Oh yeah.
It was
You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 10 millimeter bolts, and then just a couple taps and it comes right off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those are
One other
important.
important thing is this is the injector harness. All right. So there's 2 nuts on each injector, obviously. They call the studs on the injectors butter studs, and for good reason. If you over tighten these or use an impact to take them off, you will break them. You will break them 100%. These are supposed to be torqued to 11 to 15 inch-pounds maximum. Inch-pounds.
Yep.
That's nothing. So be extremely careful when you're removing and installing this injector harness, because if you break a stud, you're stuck.
Alright guys, so this is where we're at. We you can see how it looks like after we shaved it. That Dremel tool actually did a pretty good job for what we needed it. Before we install the lower valve cover onto the block or motor or whatever, we're going to go ahead and use a new gasket. Almost forgot to put it on. That would have sucked. But but that was one thing that we like. I was like, oh, hold up, what about that box of gasket right there? So having him do that. One thing that I just wanted to quickly talk about, not go into detail, or I don't know, talk about it just for a little bit. So the instructions as far as tightening these things down, Lathe probably has better instructions than I do. And so the first pass you do 40 foot-pounds, right?
Yeah, so you're gonna do one at a time.
Okay.
All right, you torque them all down to 40 foot-pounds, one at a time. You
Okay.
pull one out, put the new one in, torque it down to 40. Next one, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
You know, etc. All right. Then after you have them all installed, you're gonna go through them to the next, I think it's 80,
Yep.
and then 125. So you're gonna torque them in sequence, basically.
And those are for the head studs.
Yep.
And then what was it you were talking about as far as warming up the truck and...
Oh yeah, so some people recommend that you, once you got them torqued and you put the lower valve cover back on, your rockers, you know, plug your injectors, all that stuff back in, leave the valve cover off, get it up to operating temperature, full operating temperature, shut it down, retorque them. So basically you heat cycle it once.
So
and then
retorque him to that 125?
Yep.
Okay. But yeah, I just wanted to quickly talk about that. So yeah, sorry it's we did more of a time lapse than a detailed instruction. It's we've got a short day, so we want to try to knock it out as quick as possible while the sunlight's still out. All right, that's where we're at. Make sure when you guys are taking apart the lower valve cover, the bolts for the lower valve cover are actually not the same. The first and the last ones are actually shorter than the ones in the middle. And here you go. So here's one of the short ones. Alright guys, so when you're doing a job like this and it requires like some specific torque specs, especially when you're working on a motor or something that it's got a lot of money into it. You don't want to use your cheap torque wrench. So yeah, we got this from Lowe's. It's a Cobalt. It's a digital one. I think you paid like $150 for it.
It does work anyway. You can set different torque values, so when you do sequences, you don't have to keep raising and lowering the value or whatever. You can just do memory 1, memory 2, memory 3. Set your 3 torque sequences, torque them all to 40, and then go to memory 2, torque them all to 80. That way you don't have to raise it every time. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but it's kind of nice. And then it has torque angle.
Yeah.
I like it so far, but I think I might return it and get a snap-on one, just because I've used the snap-on one and I have had 0 issues with them.
Yeah.
And they actually count, while you're torquing head studs. It gives you a number value of how many studs you've done, so you make sure you didn't do the same one twice, or if you have an extra number, say I have 26 head studs and you end up with 27, you retorque something twice, or
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
it's kind of cool. It helps you keep count. So
Well, yeah, I just wanted to quickly talk about that. to tell them what we're doing right now?
All right, so when you pull your rocker pedestals and your rocker arms, there's a bunch of oil in these holes. Right there. See that? How it's full of oil to the brim? If you try to put your bolts in there, I mean, you might get lucky and the oil might squeeze out some of it, but if it doesn't and it gets trapped, it has nowhere to go, you could crack your head or crack your block. Same thing goes for the head studs. You're supposed to blow all the holes out, you know, make sure there's no oil, nothing but a, you know, very lightly coated oiled stud. But you can't have bolt holes full of oil and run bolts in there. Where does the fluid go? Can't compress fluids.
So how are we cleaning it out?
So I have this air gun, you know, just a little air gun. I stick it in a hole, put a paper towel over it so you don't spray yourself in the eye. Blast. Blast. Holes are clear. Oil's on the paper towel, not your face.
Nice. Cool.
All finished up. Some main things that I want you guys to remember when you're installing this stuff. Don't forget those little caps on the rockers that sit on the valve bridges. Put a little assembly lube on them.
I'll put a picture right here of what he's talking about.
If they keep coming apart, so you don't drop them in the motor or drop them in the head, just put a little assembly lube on them, plop them on, they'll stay on. Other than that, you know, after I shaved the rear part of the lower valve cover, installation's pretty straightforward. Put everything back together. Do not forget the butter studs on the injectors, 11-inch pounds, no more.
11-inch pound, not foot-pounds, guys.
Be very careful. Once you get that all back together, leave the valve cover off. Get it up to temperature, you know, full operating temp. Shut her down. Pull the lower valve cover back off. Pull your valve train back off. Retort the head. Good to go. Put it back together and send it. Test drive. We'll probably put up a video here soon. I still gotta get it tuned, and I may need a CP3, but I can floor the truck again.
That's pretty much it, guys. But you can turn it on to get it to operating temp with the
with the valve cover off. That's what I said.
Yeah.
You can leave the valve cover off. You don't have to worry about it. Oil's not going to splash everywhere unless you sit there revving it, which you don't do. So,
but yeah, that's pretty much it. We're gonna take her for a little test drive, and knowing Lath, he tends to send it when he's not supposed to. But we'll see
what happens.
All right. My God, I'm not used to feeling like
it's a smooth power.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's just weird because like for some reason when you're sitting up higher, it just everything feels faster. I mean we were going pretty fast.
I just rolled into it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't even.
Oh God.
It's not even tuned yet. Like that's just this Edge CTS2 on like the extreme tune, not the hot tune, because the hot tune drains the rail because the ejector timing is off. Because this thing is meant for stock injectors. So I probably won't be like railing on it like crazy until I get a real tune, but it's definitely picked up some kahunas. And the
I mean, I could
PGTs are way better with this bigger turbo. But yeah, that was just rolling into it. I didn't even mat it. So hell yeah. So I think we're doing all right. We'll see.
Yeah, so after you get stuff like this done, one of the big things you want to make you want to make sure you're not getting any white smoke coming out of your exhaust. So we are not seeing any white smoke yet. Hopefully never.
Hopefully never, but it is a stock motor with 300K on it, so we'll see. really feel that
Yeah.
power.
It's definitely not the Habibi machine, but still
Yeah.
for
Bill did an awesome job on
Yeah.
his trans. I actually believe I remember his shop's name is CFR Motorsports.
CFR Motorsports.
CFR.
Oh, CFR Motorsports for the
in
trans.
Saline.
Yeah. In
Quick
Saline, Michigan, guys.
turnaround and awesome job. It's awesome. Seriously, I have no complaints. Anything that I was worried about, took care of it right away. No questions asked.
So
Real humble guy.
so to put all the shout outs in order, so let's start with the trans. The trans was
Bill
at
at CFR Motorsports.
CFR Motorsports.
You got Jamie at Rush Motorsports hooking me up with a turbo kit. He's going to be hooking me up with the tuning, HP tuners, and tunes from CTT. And then we have injectors, Robert Anderson out of Tennessee. Dude's been building injectors, like I said, for 46 years. You can't beat the quality of an injector that he builds for the price. $1,600. It's unheard of. You're paying $3,000 for some name brand injectors that, I mean, they're good. I'm not going to say they're crap, but a lot of them, believe it or not, you know, they're cheaper or more expensive based on if they're balanced.
Yeah, but it's one thing when somebody's been doing it for the what you said 46 years.
46 years.
And they've got a reputation to back them up, so like that
Quick
definitely
turnaround time, great pricing, and he will literally stay up till 2 in the morning to help you put them in. If you have any problems, you call him, he'll walk you through it. He's super cool.
So is
Super
Jamie
nice
going to be
guy.
involved with the tuning process as well?
Jamie is going to be involved with the tuning process.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. Should be around 750 horse is my goal. Probably start around 600, 650 until I get the CP3 on here. But yeah. Oh yeah. The whole main head stud
whole
deal,
purpose of
Xotic. So far, so good. We've only put a couple miles and 2 poles on them, but I mean, obviously they're holding right now. They all torqued honestly, they torqued great. I didn't feel them like any of them funny. None of them felt funny. They all felt very positive, and they all torqued exactly the same. No funkiness. Everything was in the package.
The install was
Great
basically
install.
a textbook process.
Yep.
So, but yeah, that's pretty much where we're at, guys. If you guys have any questions for Leif, go ahead and hit them up at the Habibi machine, or go ahead and comment down below in the comments, or reach out to me at Backyard Pit Stop. Feel free to, follow us on Instagram. I'll go ahead and put all the shout outs, all the people that we were shouting out today. I'll put their how to reach them in the description down below, or in the video somehow. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That pretty much wraps up this video. I'm sorry we didn't really get on it that much. That's because we're still waiting on the tune. We don't want to blow up the truck just yet, or hopefully never blow up the truck. Originally this thing was basically his daily driver, and then he's like, oh man, I'm feeling an itch, I need to go faster.
I got bored.
And this is where we're at. But yeah, guys, thank you guys for watching. Go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date with the shenanigans here at Backyard Pit Stop. And as always, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time.